first bit. This is obviously a pre-record.
Okay. I treated it as live.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. I'll talk you through it. Okay. First of all, Tony, can you just confirm your name and job title, please?
I'm Tony Neat. I'm the Chief Executive of GetSafeOnline.org.
So tell us a bit about GetSafe Online and what its aim is.
Well, GetSafe Online is a public-private partnership. I helped start it when I was a serving police officer. So it was initially a police initiative together with government and the private sector. And it very much is still that. We've been going now for nearly 15 years. And I've been the chief executive for about 12 of those. And it's about educating all members of the public, from children all the way up to silver surfers, and including small, medium enterprises.
And presumably your experience as a police officer informs the way you work.
I think it does. I'm passionate about the internet, and I think the internet is a fantastic place. But there are horror stories, just like anything we do in life. And what we're here to do, and what I'm passionate about doing, is educating people and changing their behaviors so that they become safer and more secure when they're on the internet.
One of the stories we're featuring in this program is of a couple who were rung up by someone alleging they were from BT and talked them through taking off anti-hacking software on their computers. I think it was called Trusteer. What's your view on that?
It's something we've seen quite a lot of in the last 3 or 4 years. Cold calling. People are very much aware of security on their computers. They hear it every day on the radio, the television, in the press. And but suddenly, when they get a phone call, their trust goes down a little bit, and they think, "Oh, this has got to be genuine." And yes, I am on the computer, and yes, it has been getting slower lately, and they're then convinced to go on. It could be any company. What I would say to anybody watching this is, don't think it's one particular company. We hear about it from security companies, certainly from Microsoft, but it could be from anywhere that they say it. And what they'll do is they'll get you to run a little bit of a video, which you don't think is a video. You think it's actually being checked. Your computer's being checked, and of course you'll find a problem. And the problem will be fixable by the people who are phoning you up, and they'll want money off you to put some security software on. The software will probably be something that's spying on you, and plus they've got your credit card details. So it's a triple whammy for any of these criminals that are sitting there perpetrating this particular crime.
So would you say that if somebody calls you up out of the blue, just sort of pause a moment and think, is this real?
I think it is. I think one of the things I say to anybody is, stop, make a cup of tea, have a think about it. It's probably not genuine, 99% of them. And if it is genuine, then they'll probably contact you in another way, or ask for their details and then look them up online. I'm afraid, I hate to say this, but we've all got to be suspicious about things that we do when we're on the internet, and we've got to double check things out. And that's what I would recommend with anything that happens on the internet.
I mean, how sophisticated are these people? For example, in the story of the couple with the alleged BT call, they rung them at 7:30 in the morning, perhaps maybe guessing they're vulnerable, but they didn't know they'd had problems with BT themselves. So the call came in context. But presumably, are they that sophisticated, or are they just chancing their arm?
It's a bit of both. We see organised crime involved in this, but also opportunist criminals as well. And if they find a number, they'll use it. But the other thing we've got to look out for is the automation of these calls. So what a lot of people will get, and I've had them numerous times, is the phone will ring, I'll pick up the phone, and there's no one there. And I say hello, and the next thing I hear a click, and somebody's on the end of the phone. Well, that's a computer generating your number, phoning it, and if there's an answer, it's then put through to a real person. So this is the sort of elaboration that they go to make sure that these are they look genuine, but they are sophisticated. When I first saw phishing emails, which is emails that you get trying to get your information, they were very poor. the grammar was poor, the spelling, the actual makeup of the email was very poor. Now they are very sophisticated, and we have got to be on our mettle in relation to making sure we don't fall for it, which is one of the reasons I say to a lot of people, if not everybody, no matter what they're doing online, ask somebody else, get a third person's opinion. Sometimes we have rose-tinted glasses when we're online. We think there's a problem with our computer. We're looking for this fantastic holiday deal. We may be looking for love online, but we don't see the things that maybe other people who aren't looking for those things see. So always ask somebody else, friend, family, your children, your parents. It doesn't really matter who, but get someone else involved.
One of the other stories we're telling on the programme is of an older man who was rung up out of the blue with the Microsoft scam that you've mentioned. And rather than putting the phone down, he actually took them on and ended up with his computer with a problem. But fortunately, financially, he only had to pay £100 to get his computer sorted out by a local computer engineer, and could have, if he'd fallen for the scam, have ended up with £399. So he's viewing it as he came out ahead. But perhaps is that the right way to view it? I don't know. It's quite a positive story in a sense.
Well, that gentleman was glass half full, which is always a good thing, and I'm a half glass full person myself. So what I'd say is, yeah, he's looking at it the right way, but we shouldn't have allowed it to go that far anyway. If somebody says there's something wrong with your computer, put the phone down, ask somebody else. You know, how do they know? They shouldn't have access to your computer, and if they have access to your computer, they've done so unlawfully. So certainly put your phone down on anybody that phones up as a cold call. If it's your bank that says it's your bank, if they say it's a communication provider, a security company, then go online, get their details, go online, get the contact details for that particular company, for the bank, for the financial institution, and phone them back. They will be able to tell you whether that call was genuine. And unfortunately, an awful lot of them are not.
I don't know whether you can help us on this. The couple, after they got an IT friend who said pull the plug, and they were fortunate in that they got their money back from both banks, one quicker than the other. But one thing they were surprised by was they rung the police, and their local police said, well, it's not a crime. And On Carers World Investigates, we've been looking into that and finding it hard to get anybody to comment on it. As an ex-police officer, what would your view be on it?
It's clearly a crime. But what we're seeing is the explosion of this and where the crime takes place. And of course, you've got this sort of thing happening all over the world. When I joined the police some 40 years ago now, crime was local. If there was a robbery in the area, you could probably look at a number of different criminals and work out who probably it was or possibly was. Now this is international, and we don't know where these crimes are coming from. So it's very difficult for the police to investigate and to be successful in that investigation. So there is something called action fraud, and coming from Get Safe Online, we're very supportive of action fraud. It's somewhere where you can go to report a crime. We also have an awful lot of information on every page about victim support if you become a victim. So there is somewhere that you can report it. And yes, there is a reticent by the police to take these types of crime because they are so difficult to investigate. But they certainly are crimes. And you know, if no other place, go to action fraud, but also tell the bank. The bank should have a methodology for passing this on through to the City of London Police and through their action fraud system as well. So there's no reason why you shouldn't do it that way. But if it's really big and it's happening it's a crime in action, then don't be frightened to phone up your local police, to go into the police station and in a way to demand some action, because it is a crime in action.
One of the other people we've spoken to for this programme is Caroline Wayman, the Chief Financial Ombudsman. And she was talking about if you complained to her, you would talk under her organisation. She was talking about having to provide evidence. They'd look at the evidence. And obviously a bank can say, well, this is our procedure. This is what we followed. But what can the ordinary individual do evidentially to avoid a situation where a bank or other financial institution simply says, you did it, it's your fault?
Well, I would regularly take screenshots of what you're doing. Certainly, if you think there's something not quite right about what you're being asked to do, you know, people will say, well, that's complicated, screenshots. YouTube is one of the best things on the internet. Go to YouTube, put in screenshot your computer, and in a very quick, easy terms, it will tell you how to do that. Save those screenshots every stage of what you're doing. So you've got the evidence to pass back to the bank and to the police if they need it. It's a bit like being your own policeman, but like we would protect and secure evidence if somebody broke into our house, we have to do the same when we're online, because these things can disappear very quickly and people don't remember what's been said and what they were looking at. So it's a really good idea to screenshot or even take a photograph with your mobile phone of the screen so you can see what that is and you can pull it back at any time.
So drawing all this advice and experience together, what in a nutshell is your message to our viewers?
Well, I would say don't be frightened of the internet. It's a fantastic place, millions of interactions and transactions every day. But if you would allow me, I'd give just a couple of major bits of advice. First of all, go to the getsafeonline.org website and have a look. Remember, passwords are really important. We shouldn't have one password for everything that we do in our life online, just like we haven't got one key for everything we do in our life. Make sure you've got up-to-date security. Make sure that your operating system is up to date and you've got good security software. Now, what I would say is that's not just about your desktop, your laptop or your tablet. It's also about your mobile phone. The majority of people have Android phones. They need to have additional security put on, not so much Apple, but do that. Remember to back up your all your data, and remember another thing: what goes online stays online. So be careful what you say. If you wouldn't say it to your mother, if you wouldn't say it to a policeman, if you wouldn't say it to a busload of people, don't say it.
Thanks very much indeed, Tony. If you could just wait online for me, I'll just get my producer to check it's recorded okay, which I hope it has.
Right.